Muted.
Good evening, Kappas. Welcome to the Kappa Kappa Gamma Foundation Scholarship Reader Training Webinar. My name is Debbie Loomis, and I will be your producer and moderator this evening. Tonight's webinar will host two presenters, Janie Cantwell, our Foundation Scholarship Chairman, and Carol Sobek, our Undergraduate Scholarship Chairman. And there's a fun fact, I think. We've been talking back and forth, but Carol and I are sitting in her kitchen together in our slippers. We can bring you a tag team effort tonight on the webinar. Before we start tonight's presentation, I'd like to take a moment to ensure that everyone is ready and familiar with the webinar control panel. On the right side of your screen is the attendee control panel, and on the left side is the webinar viewer window. This viewer window will display the presenter's screen when the webinar begins. The control panel can be minimized or expanded by clicking on the horizontal double arrow button in the upper left corner. Minimizing the panel will allow you to better see the screen of the presentation slides. Another important feature of the control panel is the questions pane. For tonight's webinar, you are all in the muted mode. That means if you have a question, instead of speaking out loud, you will need to type your query into the question box. We are including 2 question-answer breaks during our webinar tonight. So if you'd like to type in a question during the presentation, we will be glad to address it during the Q&A break. If you need to step away for a moment, do not close the GoToWebinar window. If you do, you will need to log in again to rejoin the session. If you experience any problems with the audio, you can try using your telephone. From the webinar screen, click the option that reads Use Telephone in the audio pane of your control panel to view the conference call number. This way you can listen to the webinar using your phone. Tonight's webinar is being recorded, and the online archive version will be available to view on the Kappa website in about a week or so. And now I'd like to turn it over, our virtual microphone host, to Carol Sobek, who will begin our training.
Good evening, ladies. Your Foundation Scholarship Committee is excited to offer this annual training to better equip you with the tools to do your Foundation Scholarship duties with confidence. Some of you are seasoned readers, and others will join our team for the first time. Due to the remarkable number of applications we anticipate again this year, we expanded the undergraduate reader team to 66 readers in 22 teams of 3. There are 32 new readers to the undergraduate team, and we welcome them. Our graduate team has expanded to 12 readers. Some of our new readers are among the most dedicated and experienced Kappa volunteers. This training will be appropriate for both beginning and advanced readers. If you're returning, you'll validate and update your knowledge. Know that you will be receiving a reader's informational booklet by email attachment prior to the end of February, so you are ready to begin reading on March 1st. Do not feel compelled to take detailed notes this evening, as you'll have the PowerPoint and the instructional booklet to verify your understanding. Just relax and reflect this evening and learn or refresh your knowledge of our process. Of course, we are only a phone call away. The PowerPoint's not advancing, so I'm working on that right now. There we go. Okay, here's a snapshot of our team. Janie Cantwell of Atlanta is our overall Foundation Scholarship Chairman, her 15th year on the team. Her assistant will be Terry Lee of Fort Myers, Florida, an experienced reader. We welcomed experienced reader Cynthia Kishore of Williamsburg, Virginia, as the Chairman of Graduate Scholarships at Convention. I will return to chair the undergraduate scholarships for the 3rd year, and an experienced reader, Debbie Loomis, our producer, will be undergraduate assistant. Fortunately, Debbie and I both live in San Diego, about a mile from each other, and we're sitting here side by side at my kitchen table this evening. We wish you could all be right here. So first of all, we want to congratulate all of you to your appointment as an undergraduate or graduate scholarship reader. We believe this is CAPA's most unique job. It is simply a one-year commitment, and you're able to perform the duties of your office anywhere your laptop will take you. It's an honor that the Kappa Kappa Gamma Foundation bestows upon well-qualified alumna members. The qualifications are many. You must possess a breadth of fraternity and life experiences. You must be able to maintain confidentiality. You must make a commitment during a targeted time period, which is March 1st through April 1st. You can observe deadlines. You're an alumna member in good standing with your dues paid to your association or to Kappa headquarters, and hopefully a foundation contributor. Readers are actually very strategically selected because we put you in teams of 3 to provide balance yet diversity in geographical location, initiation era, academic interests, previous experience as a reader. Now I want to underscore that you do not work as a group and there is no collaboration as a team. This is convenient as your time contribution is not based upon others' availability. This is the perfect volunteer role for a busy Kappa. I'm going to pause for a minute here for you to do a little self-assessment. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and you might jot down your answer. I won't be asking you to share this, but this might form the basis for some prospective questions later. First question, if you are new, what do you hope to learn tonight? If you are returning, what area of scholarship reading challenged you? Going to pause for a bit so you can write those down. Well, now that you have prioritized what you need to learn, let's move forward. You're going to receive a very comprehensive training. We should begin with the deadlines for your family calendars. So November 15th, the undergraduate and graduate applications became available. And as Janie told us earlier, February 1st is the postmark or the email deadline. Applications will no longer be available on the website on that day. They disappear. February 1st through March 1st is a busy time where the scholarship materials are loaded into key reports by foundation staff, and we scholarship chairmen qualify applicants, checking for completeness and qualification, and organize into groups. March 1st, in the bright blue, of course, this is when your role begins. You can access your group of applications in key reports, only your group. March 25th would be a hopeful preliminary deadline for you to enter your scores in key reports so we can troubleshoot if there's any difficulty. April 1st, drop dead deadline to enter your scores in key reports. During the time from April 1st to the 15th, Janie and Terry will be laboring to match the scholarship funds as they are delineated with the deserving recipients. A wait list is also created. The Foundation Board of Trustees then approves the awards the 1st of May. In June, all applicants receive written notification at their permanent address, regardless of whether they are awarded or not awarded. And finally, on July the 1st, signed contracts are due, which are enclosed in those letters, and that's the scholarship recipient making the binding agreement. The first week in August, checks are mailed out for the fall 2017 semester. Sometimes I've had readers ask me, are we playing the role of a financial aid officer? Well, I want to underscore, absolutely not. You will develop a sense of their need, their resources, and their educational debt from a holistic reading of their application. The essay prompt was designed to elicit additional financial need. You will not be examining additional financial aid documents, such as the FAFSA, which is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, Form 1040, or an official summary of university fees. All financial information is self-reported. Parental income is not requested. The CAPA Foundation Board of Trustees has requested that all applicants are scored based upon their individual merit, realizing that affording college is a burden to all families. The applicants, in order to apply, must have been an undergraduate member in good standing with the intent to attend full-time during the 17-18 academic year. They must be initiated by the application deadline, which would be February 1st. They cannot be an associate member. A minimum 3.0 QM GPA is expected. Scholarships cannot be awarded for foreign study or study away from the applicant's campus unless the recipient receives the root scholarship, which can be awarded for study abroad for those studying the language of that country. For instance, going to France to study French. They must complete and submit an online application form and all of the supporting documents, including the app, personal essay, official transcript, and 2 letters of recommendation, all these by the February 1st deadline. Only 1 recommendation is required for the graduate scholarship, and our scholarship funds must be used exclusively for educational expenses. The elements of the application, if you haven't had a chance to see it before, contains this pertinent personal information. It asks for academic honors, chapter activities and leadership, community and volunteer activities, employment and internships, academic plans for the next academic year, whether they're going abroad, taking an internship off campus, a co-op program. They submit parental and sibling information, yet no parental income once again is requested. A personal essay stating the applicant's educational and career goals is included, and it should tell how the applicant's financial need impacts these goals. 2 letters of recommendation, 1 academic, and 1 chapter, verifying that the applicant is in good standing. The transcript must be sent directly to CAPA headquarters by the college or university. The graduate application has some different elements. Of course, the name of the graduate school that the applicant's attending or pending admission to, the field of study and expected date to complete the program, expanded college history, alumni association participation, of course, other scholarships or financial assistance, dollar amounts of loans, expanded employment history, and only 1 academic recommendation required. Now, you're going to be preparing for your reading, and you can expect an email from the undergraduate or graduate scholarship chairman with detailed instructions during the last week in February, prior to the availability of key reports. This email will include an attachment, the evaluation worksheet template for your personal use as you read each application. It is from this worksheet that you will enter your scores directly into key reports. You should refresh your understanding of the process by viewing this PowerPoint a second time. And to view the webinar again, you will log in to www.capa.org/members and navigate to the Member Education Visit Our Webinars page. And we will be sending that link out to you once again, so you can go directly to it. You should review the qualifications and the evaluation worksheet that's attached to that email. Familiarize yourself with the point values assigned to each segment. Duplicate the evaluation worksheet so that you have 1 for each applicant in your group. Maybe make 35. You probably won't read that many, but that will give you a sufficient number. Label the names and the chapters and keep them in alpha order by last name of the applicant. You will not submit these worksheets. They will serve as your scoring and note-taking device. Well, let's take a look at those evaluation worksheets. First, the undergrad and how they relate to the elements of the application I've described. Each has a rubric, with the high score being the best. This is the undergraduate evaluation worksheet. Just to take a peek at it, you can see that points are assigned according to the year that the student is in school this year. So, of course, the senior would get priority point awarding. Academic honors through campus activities all are on a rubric of 0 to 4. Employment and internships, whether the student is working school year or summer or both, could be a passable of 5 in those 2 blanks. Financial need, which is derived from the information that you're given on the form, not any additional investigation of a FAFSA or anything. Personal essay, earning the highest number of points in the words that the applicant expresses her career objectives and love of her education, and perhaps love of Kappa, and her career goals and financial needs. And of course, letters of recommendation, of which you'll have 2, and I'll expand on those a little later. The grade point average, which you will write down on your evaluation worksheet, will actually cross-reference to a rubric of point values that equate to that GPA. So, for an example, a student that has a GPA would be awarded 7 points on your evaluation sheet. I'll be explaining the next category, judges extra points, in some more detail. And we do ask you to take notes on 3 specific things, and I will tell you about that later. Now, Cynthia has given a great deal of leadership to the graduate evaluation form, and the categories, I've got them here, and I just want to touch on them here. You can see whether they're currently enrolled or will begin. There's a difference there in the awarding. Academic honors, which are related to perhaps honors at graduation or previously. The field of study is a substantial part of it, and you take into account all of the things that are bullet itemized there. When we get down to Kappa chapter or alumni of participation leadership, Cynthia is giving you a nice rubric there in terms of how you might award 5 down to 0 points. I found that really helpful in understanding campus and community. She's given that employment experience, a nice rubric, shades of meaning within that, and the GPA in grad school. Use a pass-fail system. So if they have passed, they are awarded all 5 points. Financial need is substantial with a possible 8. Personal letter, same. And the 1 recommendation would be on a score of 0 to 3. Okay, well, we've covered a lot of information, but I want to tell you that Janie Cantwell has spent countless hours refining and streamlining the application and evaluation process by collaborating with the IT and foundation staff at fraternity headquarters. She's going to lead you through the technical part now. She's our techie. Experienced readers, you are going to marvel at how the process has been improved. Janie, take it away.
Thank you, Carol, and welcome everyone. Just before we get started, I wanted to give you a couple of updates on numbers that we're looking at. Right now, as of this week, we have 1,300 undergraduate applications in process. That means they've opened up an application and have at least typed in their name. Of those, we have approximately 500 who have submitted something, a transcript, a reference, something. Of those, 127 of them have submitted an actual application. So I think, you know, people go, ooh, but that's about where we were last year, and we've added more readers. For those of you who are returning, you know, our goal is not to have you read as many this year. On the graduate side, we have 225 applications in process that people have opened up and looked into it. Of those, 45 have submitted some kind of material. Of those, 40 have actually submitted an application. So I think that's pretty cool. It shows that we're reaching to our women who are in college and getting them to actually apply. So that's kind of fun to see and watch, and I'm a data nerd, so I do look at all that. So if you are returning, here's what's been improved. There's no hassle with those Excel documents. You're not emailing your chairman anything. No problems with Mac or PC and how do I get this big spreadsheet to email back to you. We're not doing that anymore. Everything will be loaded into the key report system. Transcripts this year are scanned and uploaded at headquarters. That's the only thing our staff has to deal with this year. And that's just because many of that has to do with how universities like to release transcripts. Recommendations, the references, are no longer sent to headquarters. We don't accept them by email or U.S. mail. We have what we call request a link system. When they're in doing their application, they press this button at the bottom of their application, type in the email to who they want their request sent. It sends them our prompts. They type in their answers as to why this person should be recommended, hit submit, and it attaches automatically to that applicant's application. Wonderful. The applicant also has the choice to upload a reference to their application themselves. We will not upload them for them. Accessing key reports. Key reports is the system that if you do anything with CAP as a volunteer, you're going to get used to using. You're going to log into the CAPA website, or you can go directly capa.org/members. This is where you will see, when you last contributed to the foundation, when you paid your dues, all that can be there, and you're more than welcome to update anything that needs to be updated, addresses, emails, etc. Once you've logged in as a member, you're going to navigate to more resources, then down to official family member and key reports. Once you get on, don't worry, I have screenshots. Once we get into the key reports page, the first thing you're going to see is your chapter's homepage, and you'll see a little snapshot of that when we show you the screenshots here in a minute. But across the top of the menu, there's a blue ribbon, and that's where you'll see the Scholarships tab. And you will either click on, when you hover over it, you'll click on it, and you'll either see graduate or undergraduate. It just depends on which one you're assigned. And then you'll be able to see applications or the evaluation score worksheet or record a score. So those are, and don't worry, I have all this in the instructions for you, the written instructions for you. Once you're in key reports, one handy tip I'm going to tell you, do not box out with the small X in the upper right-hand corner. If you do, you have to log back in. I've done this many times. Use the back arrow in the upper left-hand corner. You can also bookmark key reports on your member dashboard on the fraternity website. That's that first page that comes up right after you log in. There will be instructions on the website and an instruction booklet. Once we hit March 1st, on that first day, we do ask you to go ahead and log in and get a little bit familiar with the key report system. Unfortunately, you cannot get in key reports until March 1st and do that ahead of time, and that is because we are very busy working in the key report system. Once you are in the scholarship section that which is the one you've been assigned, you'll see applications. When you open up the applications, you will see applications in a PDF style that are assigned to you. They will be in alphabetical order. You can use the arrow buttons to arrow through them, or you can scroll up and down. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. It'll make a little more sense. On the last page, it's not really the last page, it's at the bottom of the application because it's just one long scroll. You're going to see the supporting documents. You only can see supporting documents while you're logged into the key report system. You can open them up, and they will usually go into a PDF viewer, and everybody's is a little bit different. Once they're in the PDF viewer, you can print them. You can download them to your computer. I do not recommend downloading applications or the supporting materials at all to your computer. They take up a lot of storage space, and if you do, I'm going to ask that you delete them on April 1st because it is a privacy concern to me. So I will just tell you, I prefer that you just stay in key reports and read through key reports. For maximum ability to read a transcript and recommendation letter, I'm going to tell you the best thing to use is Google Chrome instead of Internet Explorer. Most people who have trouble getting into key reports, it's because they're on Internet Explorer. IT says that's not necessarily true. It's just my experience, and so take it for what it's worth. The other thing you need to probably have is Adobe Reader. Make sure you have a current version of Adobe Reader so you can see these PDFs. It is free. You just go Google Adobe Reader and it'll pop up, and just pick the free one. That's what I use. If you have a page that appears blank, close it, open it again. If you still can't see it, contact somebody on the scholarship committee. We have opened, by the time you guys see this, we have opened every single thing, every application, every transcript, every reference. So we will help you get it solved. All right, let's take a look at these screenshots. Some of these are from Carol's computer, some are mine. Okay, so this is what Carol's member page looks like when she comes up. And you can see that Carol has bookmarked key reports in yellow. And you are free to do that. To bookmark, you'll see up under the search box, you'll see a little black, I don't know, it looks like a tab. It's next to the Facebook dot. When you're on a page, once you get into key reports, if you click on that little button, then it will bookmark it to your front page here. But what you're going to go for is just below that is more resources, and that will take you into where you'll see official family, and then you open that, and then it opens into, you can open into key reports and other official family documents. So once you get on your, you get into key reports, this is kind of a partial, it's actually much longer than this, of your chapter's homepage. As you see, Carol went to Arizona State. And so you would see, you'll see different things on this page. You cannot open any of those items. It's just, it shows up. So you can see how many members they have and stuff. It's kind of fun. But you can't open any of it. What you're looking for is that highlighted in yellow up there on the blue bar is where it says scholarships. You will not have officers. You might have Task Center, because this is what this front page is called, the Task Center. But you will be looking for scholarships. And then next, I'll show you another, I have another screen later on. Kind of got them out of order, sorry. That comes up, and when you hit applications, this is what you're going to see. And you'll see up here on this brown ribbon, you'll see all the different names up there. You can actually pull down on that little button next to where all those names are in the yellow circle, and you can just click on the ones you want. You can do all or just part of them, up to you. And you can then arrow through back and forth the actual applications. If you do want to change anything that's in this brown ribbon, oh, go back for a minute, please.
Okay.
Sorry. If you see over here in the brown ribbon to the right side, it says View Report. If you do any kind of sorting on your applicant's name, you have to hit View Report for that screen to refresh. Just a handy tip. All right, now I'm ready for the next one, sorry. See, once you scroll to the bottom of the application, you'll see when the application was accepted into the computer, and then you see in yellow, you'll see the transcript, and then the references will show up. This applicant didn't have any there when we made the screenshot, sorry. All right, so now the big thing that is new this year is entering your scores into key reports. Like I said, we are not going to be doing any spreadsheets. You'll have your evaluation worksheet. It's a single page per person. You will put all your, you will have read through and you'll put down your scores, and then you'll be ready to enter them into key reports. I am going to warn you, once your scores are submitted into key reports, you cannot go in and edit them in key reports. That's an important thing to remember. So let's look at some screenshots. This is how it will look when you come in. You'll see scholarships. You will only either see undergraduate or graduate. For the purpose of this slide, we opened up, then when you open up, say you're a graduate reader and you open up graduate, you'll see applications, the evaluation score sheet, or record application scores. So for now, we're going to go and we're going to do record application scores. This is the screenshot of what comes up. Basically, it's saying, you're getting ready to record your scores. You read it, you hit continue. Now you're going to select your applicant. You can pick more than one applicant at a time. I would like you all to, the first time you record one, do only one applicant, just to make sure you know what you're doing when you go through. Then if the next time you want to do 2 or 3 at a time, have fun. So you're going to find one thing that IT has asked, you'll see there's 3 buttons down here circled next to each name. The names are alphabetically, and you will only see the names that are the applicants assigned to you. There are 3 buttons. In our example, you'll see that this first button is grayed out, and that's why the green number 2 is selected. We ask that you pick the first available button, be it button number 1, button number 2, or number 3 for that applicant. Once a button has been used by another reader, it grays out. Do not, if you have an error in your recording, do not go back in and record scores for that same applicant using another button, because that means another reader is not going to be able to record their scores. I'll tell you what we'll do about that after we get through. So in this example, back to this thing. Thank you. Sorry, Carol's in charge over there. So on this one, for Caitlin Abercrombie, I had to pick number 2. For Francesca, I picked button number 1 because that's the first one that was available. Thank you, Carol. So now you can see, if you're an undergraduate reader, this is what your screen will look like. You will enter the date, and there is the little calendar, so you can just pick with it. If you're doing more than one applicant and you don't want to have to pick the date every time, you can hit the button apply to all, and all the ones that you're going to do during that session, it will fill in the date for you. Then you're going to do your scores. Basically, you're transferring from your evaluation worksheet onto this scores. You also at the bottom can write in your comments. That comments box does not have, that text box is unlimited. There is no, word number or letter number that you have to stay within. It is unlimited. So please do tell us if you have something you want us to know about this applicant, we need to know it. Not just the 3 things that Carol has listed on the evaluation score sheet, but if there's something overall you want us to know, or something that you didn't understand or whatever, please do put your comment about this person in there. They are very valuable to us. Next screen I have, this is one of the next thing that will happen, so after you've filled in your thing, you hit the continue button to go to the next page. It will come up and it'll show you what you entered. If you don't like what you entered, you say, ooh, I made a mistake, you go and you hit the back button down there in the lower left-hand corner. If you like what you did, you type your name in and the date exactly as it is shown on the screen. So they may be using your formal name. It's however you are. So just to warn you about that. Then you hit continue. Once you hit continue, your scores are saved. There is a receipt page that comes up. I couldn't go that far without submitting scores that would have to be erased. So if you do see the receipt page, it'll ask you if you want to print them. Don't print them because we don't want them and it's just a waste of paper. Next. Okay, so the next I showed you, I've got a screenshot here of the graduate. Graduate readers who are on this call, just so you know, we've had a little trouble with this page. It may, at randomness, go out of order, so be very careful and make sure you're entering the right score for the right category. I just thought I'd point that out. The comments section has gone haywire a couple times and floated way up to the top. And we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen by the time you get this, but just thought I'd point it out that we've had a few issues with it. Again, once you've entered, you hit the continue button, and then you'll see a validation screen just like we showed you for the undergraduate. All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to ask you to type in any questions, get a drink of water if you must, but remember, do not log off or close out of the webinar session.
We're going to pause about 2 minutes. So following Debbie's instructions, go ahead and don't feel compelled to ask a question if you don't want to. If you want to just get up and stretch, we have some really important information to come. We want you to be fresh. Okay, everybody back and a little bit refreshed? Hopefully so. We have about 15 minutes left of our presentation, and then we have some time for questions. And Gabby and I are sitting here together using the same computer so we can begin to see your questions, and we appreciate that. So let me go over with you now what we're going to talk about. Oops, come on, advance, honey. There we go. There. We're going to spend some time now with me teaching you a little bit about fine-tuning your own sense of evaluation. The important topics I'll be covering are calibrating your judgment, evaluating transcripts for official cumulative GPAs, evaluating recommendations, academic and chapter, specific notes needed for unique scholarship matching criteria for judges' extra points on undergraduate scoring, and of course, revisions. Well, many of you know that I'm a retired guidance counselor, and in that role for 34 years, I was also a reader for the University of California admission application cycle, and they introduced me to the concept of calibration, which is simply a process you go through to allow you to make equitable decisions. At the UC reading, we spent 2 full days calibrating. I'm asking you to spend a shorter period of time, but it will go a long way in helping you to be fair and equitable to the first applicant as well as to the last. So here's the process. First of all, you're going to read each application holistically in its entirety before you assign points to each individual area. I'm recommending you read 5 full applications before scoring. This will give you a wider view of the range of applications rather than just one. And remember, Janie has told you, once you enter your scores and submit them, you cannot change them. So you're going to be doing the scoring on your evaluation worksheets and kind of getting the feel. With this process, you will be less likely to score the early applications more stringently or more liberally. We call this calibrating, like I said. Don't worry if your applicant has met the qualifications, because we, the chairman, have been pre-screening every single page of the applications, looking for completeness and appropriateness. You are only scoring the qualified applicant. We recommend scoring the applications in sessions rather than one here and one there. You'll find that your sense of judgment is much more parallel among applications. If you do it in a continuous stream for a while, you'll also spend less time at the beginning reorienting yourself. So let's go forward. Right? I guess every time we go into the questions, I'm there, evaluating transcript. So you will enter a cumulative GPA on your evaluation worksheet for your reference. Unfortunately, you will, ultimately, you will assign points for the range in which the cumulative GPA falls upon your worksheet, not the actual GPA when you enter it into key reports, and I think you saw that. There is no self-reported GPA on the application, so dig for the cumulative GPA. All transcript formats differ, but it's generally easy to find. If you have a candidate from the school that uses a percentage system, such as Stanford, some of the Canadian schools, McGill, University of British Columbia, as I recall, you will need to convert the percentage to a numerical GPA range. So just quickly, here's my math hat. If you have a Stanford student with an 85%, you would take a 4.0 GPA and multiply, remember this, make it into a decimal, 0.85, and that student would have a 3.4 GPA. Of course, if this trips you up, please let me know and I will help you with it, definitely. I will probably have calculated the GPA myself, actually. Then verify that the transcript you're evaluating belongs to the candidate. Just check that name, just in case something happened. Now remember, all transcripts are official and must be sent directly from the college or university. So here we have a transcript, which I tried to redact, but oops, there's Madeline's name up at the top. So you can see generally the cumulative GPA resides down in the lower right-hand corner. Now I want to remind you, transcripts vary tremendously. Most transcripts you'll see will also contain the spring semester courses that the students presently enrolled in or will be taking in a spring semester or quarter. And so be sure that in this case, of course, they don't have a GPA, they don't have credits yet for those future or current courses. So you're going to climb back into the end of the fall semester and there will be your cumulative GPA. So in evaluating recommendations, remember, each undergraduate applicant will have 2 recommendations, one academic and one chapter. Readers that are returning, this differs from the 2016 scholarship cycle. We requested 2 in the past, but 1 would suffice, no longer. Both recommendations will provide you anecdotal evidence. Score each recommendation independently on a 0 to 4 rubric and then take the average of the 2. So you're scoring them individually. The recommendations are worth 8 points. The aggregate of the 2 is worth 4. Graduate applicants will only have 1 recommendation with single score of 0 to 3. Now, if you're reading an application and you have a concern about a standards issue that was brought to light in a recommendation by perhaps an advisor or even a teacher, please contact Janie Cantwell directly with that information. Don't research anything, don't carry it with you, just let Jamie know. Notes to record that we keep talking about, and the end of the evaluation sheet, you are going to be looking for these things. If the applicant is studying abroad in the upcoming academic year, and is her abroad program academically aligned with a major? This not only has to do with that root scholarship, with the country of study, with the language, and with the major, but also it will affect the amount of their award, since a student who's studying abroad cannot receive a scholarship for that semester. Is your applicant leaving campus to do an internship or co-op program for at least a quarter or to be awarded to a campus Panhellenic leader, normally a president?
Carol?
So, yes,
Carol,
Janie.
can you go back to the part about internships? You dropped us for a moment.
Oh, I did? Okay.
Yeah.
So if a student has an internship or a co-op program for a quarter or a semester, or perhaps is in a Washington, D.C. exchange program, this would also affect the amount of the award. And then, Janie, did you hear me about the Panhellenic leader? Janie?
Sorry, I was muting myself because I have a cough. No,
okay, you
say that.
You heard about Panhellenic. Say it again. Okay, well, I'm going to go forward because they can read that.
Yeah.
So now, this has always been a source of a lot of questions from my readers, and how do you exactly evaluate the extra points at the end of the undergraduate application? Well, we've given you a range of 3 points to complete your evaluation. You may award points if the applicant exhibits extreme need, is overcoming a particularly challenging
Carol, we can't hear you. Hello? I can't hear Carol.
I can't either.
Carol, we can't hear you. Okay, Carol just told me her call has failed. Oh, Carol, go back up. Okay, so Carol will hopefully get back on. I'm trying to think where she is where we were in the presentation. Just hang tight with us, everybody. We'll get her up. We're almost over. You can see they're logging back in, so we can see your questions. I can't see the questions. Basically, we do want you to, look for those things. And honestly, I don't have a copy of the webinar in front of me right now, so I can't tell you what the rest of it is. I only copied my part. And they're...
It's slide 43 is where we were.
Yeah, I don't have the slides in front of me right now,
Okay.
so I can't tell what, I didn't memorize what slide 43 is.
Yeah.
Do you have that up?
She was discussing the extra points, how to assign the
Oh, okay, the extra points. So basically what we want you to know about extra points is for the undergrad readers only, graduates do not have extra points. These are for things that are extraordinary. It is not something, sorry, Carol's trying to ring me and I can't tell her. Terry or somebody, Carol, hold on just a second. Carol, I'm continuing the webinar, hold on. So, yeah, we can see. So on the extra points, what we do is we want that to be for something extraordinary. Not that they just gave good care to their application, or that they, maybe you see they have extreme need more than another person. That's something you could give an extra point for. their application was far better than any of the other applications you looked at, that might be a good reason. Just that they typed it well does not count. You should not have every applicant should not have extra points. If you've got 30 to 35 applications, your extra points should only be given to 3 to 5 should be getting extra points in that group. They're still trying to get on, and let's see if they're going to make it in this time. No. Okay. Let me try and text her real quick. But I can't do your questions without her. Here we are. They're back. Okay. Now they're going to do frequently asked questions, and I don't know if we're going to get Carol's voice back or not, so I'll just keep talking while that's up. If an applicant does not respond to a question, how do I score it with a 0? The answer to that is yes. You've gained the information you need, unless you get that information somewhere else from a reference or whatever. If they don't fill out it, you can't know what they don't fill out. So it's okay to put a 0 in. If you have an applicant who has made an obvious mistake entering tuition, housing, chapter costs, or how much the percentage that their parents support, usually they've added an extra 0. Assume, look at that and to your best judgment, decide what is needed. We did kind of went over this on the extra points so that you know that we're not going to give them to every candidate. And I don't hear Carol. I don't know if they're on, and I can't advance the slide. So let me try texting with her. We did that one. There we go. Okay, just so you can see the facts and figures from the 2016 cycle. Last year we qualified 655 applications. 164 undergraduates were awarded with 25% getting the actual scholarships. Graduate, we had 89 applications qualify or meet our minimum standards. 22 were given awards for, again, 25% were awarded. We try to keep the percent awarded the same between undergraduate and graduate. It's about all we can do considering the difference in numbers of applicants we get between the two areas. I don't know if Carol is able to be talking.
Yay!
Okay.
Yay, we're back. I think.
Okay. Well, we went ahead and did your extra points, and so whatever's next from here. Take her away, Carol. We tried to keep it going for you. It took me a minute.
I think we're having some really bad weather here, and Debbie's phone just, said the call dropped, but we're back. So I think, Janie, you were going over the facts and figures from the 2016 application cycle, correct?
We did, and we also did your judges' extra points, and we did the frequently asked questions.
Super. So the one thing I wanted, Janie, did you go over with them, giving them the facts from the 2 previous cycles, how much we have grown?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to show you by way of illustration. Look in the undergraduate numbers that Janie just reviewed with you, and realize, and some of you were readers at this point, that 3 years ago, in 2014-15, we only read 245 applications, 115 recipients for 47%. So you can see the growth has been exponential in the number of qualified undergraduate applications, but yet that lessens the percentage of those that receive as those numbers grow. So that's why we're always, and of course the foundation staff are always striving to gain more scholarship money so we can award scholarships to more of these deserving young women. So when you look at the final numbers for last year, unbelievably impressive that the total amount, and this included undergraduate, graduate, leadership consultants, 575,190. I mean, this is unbelievable, readers. If you tell other civic groups that you're connected to and scholarship programs, this is an unheard of amount to have on an annual basis. That's normally the amount of an endowment. So, and the average GPA of those awarded for an undergraduate scholarship was a 3.687. So you can see that even though the minimum is a 3.0, those who are actually awarded definitely end up with the higher GPAs. And you saw that on the rubric, too, with the numbers of points that were awarded. So we were at convention this summer. It was right here in Debbie's and my hometown, of course, San Diego. And this is a group from our foundation scholarship readers team who came to the foundation breakfast that day, and we honored them and thanked them. But I wanted you to know that being a reader is the best CAPA job ever. Those of you who have experienced will know that. There's such a sense of satisfaction. And it's only possible because of your time and talent and the dedication that you give. So now it's your time. You've been writing some questions, and Debbie's working hard, looking at the screen and getting ready to ask those. Jamie will be answering, by and large, the majority of your questions. And Debbie's going to read the question, and then Jamie will field it unless she needs to toss it to one of us. So, Debbie?
Okay, let me go through some of these and see if there's a general theme with any of them or if they cover some things that we haven't gone over yet in the PowerPoint. Here's a question. What if you happen to personally know the applicant?
Okay, if you personally know an applicant that you are assigned, you need to contact Carol or Cynthia, whichever, if you're graduate, you'd go to Cynthia. If you're undergraduate, go to Carol. We will not have you score that person. Somebody from the committee, me, Carol, Cynthia, Debbie, or Terry, will then take your place and we will score that person because we can get in and score on anybody there. We have access to all of the applications. So just make sure we know that that is somebody you know, and you will, though it might be in your assigned group, you will just not score that person, and one of us will do it for you.
And Janie, I would just add that if we know you're an advisor to a chapter of an applicant that falls within your group of applications, we might pay some attention to that before we even distribute who reads what group, right, Janie?
Yes, if we know that. I don't know that, so if you are an advisor to a chapter, please make sure your chairman knows that so that they can relay that information to me, or you can email me directly because I make the assignments. And so I'll just make sure that nobody in that group, the group that you're assigned to, is from that chapter, but I do need to know that information up front before February 12th, if I could.
Okay, that sounds good. There's another question that came in related to financial need. Is financial need assessed only by the applicant's letter?
No. Well, there is a place in the application that we do ask them if they're getting any other kind of scholarships or financial need. We ask their loan amounts. We do ask the amount of the current year's tuition, room, board, fees, etc., and then next year's. So you can kind of see that. So between their letter and that information, you can get that. We are not allowed by the Board of Trustees to ask for their parents' salary, and that is the Board of Trustees thing. And so we took that off about 3-4 years ago at their bequest. And I'll be honest, most of the parents didn't fill it in. We do ask for the parents' employment, so we know what they do, because obviously you can tell if a doctor versus a cashier, you're going to know a little bit more about need based on that, but we do not ask for that. You will also see the applicant's employment. That can help help you assess their needs. So need is a holistic thing that you are going to get from the entire application and references. A lot of references talk about a student's need, financial need.
Okay. Let's do about 2 more questions, Debbie, okay? That sounds good. A question from Kyle. When you are entering the information into Key Reports, does it save as you go, or do you need to enter all of the information at once in one session? Because if you log out or your computer fails, do you lose all of that information?
No, you will be going, let's say you've scored all 30 of you, and I kind of recommend waiting till you've at least scored all 30 of yours on paper. Then let's say you want to do, you know, I would do at least just 1 the first time. The next time I might get brave and do 2 of them. Once you hit the validation page, that's the one where you've entered your name and the date and hit continue, then that one is saved. So then you would go to the next person, and I would start over again. And I might do 2 or 3, one at a time. But once you hit the validation where you've entered your name and the date and then hit continue, then at that point it is saved. The score is saved. That is why we want you to have them all in by the 25th, because then at that point your chairman can go and look and see who we don't have them on and contact you and say, hey, something happened. You say, oh, I haven't entered them yet, or oh, I thought I got that done. But keep your work pages, your worksheet pages until about April 10th, if you don't mind, just this first year, since it's all new for all of us.
Okay. I think we'll end on this last question during the webinar, but if we didn't get to your question tonight, we will definitely respond to them so that you'll be able to see the questions and answers, because they might apply to many of us as readers. Reagan asked if we will be able to find out if any of the applications we scored received funding at the end of the process.
Yes, but it is way at the end of the process. We do not release the list of recipients until August or September each year. This is because we have many, even though we offer them an award, they will not either return their contract or some life situation will happen and they may decline the award for one reason or another, and we have to replace them with another awardee. So we do not publish the list until then. When we do publish the list, it is for your eyes only. It is not to be shared with anyone. These lists are private. Many of our winners do not want their names publicized. So we do it as a courtesy to you because we know you're interested. You've spent a lot of time looking at them, and so we know we all, when I was a reader, I wanted to know too. So we send it to you, but it is not something that we want you to share anywhere. It is a privacy thing for these women.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. That was a great explanation. I'm doing a clock check and want to be conscious of our time. So I believe that we are getting ready to close this webinar. Just a reminder that this PowerPoint will be available in the archive section of the Foundation website sometime next week. And that will include the questions that we didn't get to tonight. Also, you will receive the Reader's Information booklet from Jamie in early February. It will come to you as an email attachment from fraternity headquarters, so keep your eyes open for it soon. The evaluation score worksheet will also be attached, and this document can be found as well in Key Reports once that opens up for all of us on March 1st. Our hope is that by sending out the evaluation score worksheet early, you'll have plenty of time to make enough copies for each applicant in your group before the scoring process begins. And I believe Carol suggested maybe 35 copies would be more than enough. As we close this webinar, a survey will appear on your screen. You will be prompted to respond to a few evaluation questions. Please take a moment to share your thoughts with us about tonight's presentation. Your feedback will help us shape future webinar training events, and it will also improve upon areas that you find valuable. If you have any additional questions or comments, feel free to email any one of us on the Scholarship Committee. We are happy to help. On behalf of the Scholarship Committee, we thank you all for giving us this past hour of your valuable family time. We look forward to future communication as we support you on this amazing Kappa adventure. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Okay, Debbie, you can stop recording. And then you close us out. There you go. Good night.
Good night.
Night, John boy.